Okay, this is a Spherian guard, and I set up the board for my very first battle. It is against two King's Guards. I put them over there, so it now requires an entire table. I put temporary chip holder things here, so you can actually, if you have the surface area for the player board, then you have enough surface area for the battle, at least against two enemies. Note that you can also have 4 enemies, and then you would have to reorganize things. I drew two swords because Gregory starts with 2 action points, and this determines the amount of chips that you draw. Because they are black, they count, so it's the end of my drawing phase. I had to look up what chain effect is. Gregory starts the battle, and let's see how to clarify this. So what I could do, for example, is to place here a sword, because this Captain's Blade has a sword, and it does a +0, so it doesn't really do much, but this is called a standard attack. You can do one standard attack per turn. Then I was figuring out what to do with the other one, and I noticed the interesting keyword here called chain. Chain here. So you start with the P on the front, and then it writes. It requires 1 sword and 1 action point. And if you do it, then you can add a green, and this is very important. This is a very tiny green thing. You can add a green chip into the bag for the future turn. So this might be this, if I chose it. And then chain means that how it works. Chain is that the first thing that you have activates the chain. And in case you would have a shield, which I don't, I would, for example, do this. Imagine this is a shield. So I would first do this, then do this, and because I then do this, and this has a chain, and this was triggered by this activating chain, which means that I can activate what is on the right. So add another green shield, and the green things are very tiny. Tiny circles, but once you notice them, you will know. So if you change it, and chain is not really explained, but it's the first card is to activate the chain. So if I first did this, imagine as a shield, then chain would be activated for the character, and if I then would do this, then the chain effect would also trigger. So this makes it a bit more interesting, because I could, well, in this case I can't, because well, I could perform, and you can always exchange 2 swords for a shield, so I can activate. I can get a defense +1. My defense is currently 2, because the rulebook says so. And unfortunately, I think I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a standard attack. I'm going to advance, and I'm going to cross slash. And cross slash is a separate attack that you do attack all enemies for +1. So that's a separate attack, which we're going to do first. And I will add this to my bag. And the order of activation doesn't really matter, but cross slash says attack all enemies for fist +1. Fist of Gregory is 3, so I attack in the top the enemies for 4 each, and their defense is 1, so they will be hit for 3. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Note that this is a walk in the park mode, where where all enemies have -1 defense. So the stated defense, as you can see from the card here, the stated defense is 2 shields, and you can decrease it by 1 to say that you play in story mode. So this was the effect of this single thing, and now it's exhausted. So you put it in the black thing. Then so that was on all enemies. Then this is just adding. I don't think this. It costs an action point. I don't think this is an actual effect or attack. It is just the card to advance. So the only effect that I would have here is Captain's Blade. I think. No, I don't think it makes much sense. I think if you have a sword, then you do also an attack. So by placing this, I attack the front guard with my strength of 3. I don't think this +1 is still active. So just 3 damage. -1 defense is 2, so -2. The first card is now down to 3 hit points, and then my standard attack here is the same thing. So I do it again, 3 damage, because the strength is 3, -1 defense is 1, 2. So the first guard is now at 1 hit point. Then it's the enemy's turn. I think the enemies draw cards from their AI deck. So this is the King's card. And it says choose target, highest, Gregory is the target, attack target, shield bash 2, +2. So this will cost them 2. Let me zoom out because it's far away. Where is the card? Yeah, so shield bash. It's not really defined, it's just a flavored text. So it costs them 2, and they do 2 attack, +2 attack, and their fist is 2, so they do 4 damage. 4 gross damage. Choose target all enemies. It's Gregory. Attack targets. Spinning barrage. I don't understand. You have to do them all, or this is choose target and this is choose target. Don't understand this. I think we have to do all of them. So attack target to shield bash, This is an attack, I think. They have fist of 2, so that makes them +4. So 4 incoming gets mitigated by the shield of 2. So Gregory is down from 20 to 18. And then the rest doesn't work because they choose target all enemies, spinning barrage. It costs 2 action points and they already spent all their 2 action points. But a higher level King's Guard would start with more action points, and then this would also occur. So that's how it works. For the second King's Guard, choose target, Gregory, intimidation 1. Add a red cube to the target's back. Oh crap. I have to take the other thing. And then they do a charging jab, but it costs 2 action points, so it's not going to happen. So all this card does is adding a red cube to the bag. So yeah, that's how a turn goes. And then you do the clean up phase. So I'll take the red cube later. Discard all chips from enemies to the supply, all green. So this thing on the right is necessary because this is your general supply where you return chips. So that must be there when you are doing battle. But yeah, so far it's pretty intuitive. So see you next time.